come we got a 1 and we got no 1? Well, that's odd. That's odd. Why is that showing that? Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. What's going on over there? Normal? Okay. If you say so. Oh, you goddamn thing. From the WDWL TV multiplex. Live from the Hawaiian waterfall. With great anticipation, we bring you the pride of the station. The grumpy old man and who are you? Oh, the grumpy vulture. Take your bow. Take your bow. Don't stand there like a dummy. Take your bow. Get the banner up. That's right. Get the banner up. I'll give you 8.5 out of 10. You still got to wear the banner. Oh. Look at your spotlight. Look at the camera. You can do 2 things at once. You can multitask. I can't, but you can. Oh, the microphone doing so close. Well, number 1's here again, like usual. First person here. I was running behind today, so I didn't get a chance to pick out any obscure music. You know, when he wants to, he's like my kid, you know. When he wants to put his mind to do something, he'll do it nice. Most of the time, it's like, well, he's pissed off because he's got to wear the banner. I need to have some free advertisement for the station. It might as well be him. I had to go up to get more cookies. I made a pig out of myself with the good ones. You know, it's like, one more. One more. And then next thing you know, there's no more. Well, it's been so long since I had the good cookies. So I go up to the store. I needed smokes too. I walk in the door, and the 2 wives are working today, which is a rarity. As soon as I come in the door, the one, dos. I said, yeah, dos. And the other one, she don't work the store up front. She's usually back in the back cleaning, and she looks, I'll say, wife number 1, wife number 2. Wife number 2 looks at number 1, and I hear her say, what's dose? And she pulls up my cigarettes. Wife number 2 goes, dose LD, not dose. So she pulls out a second pack out of the rack. Dose. Still had her confused. Not dose, LD. Finally she went, dose means 2. Oh, okay. So I'm walking back to get my cookies, and I go back to where they are. And I look at the box, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm looking, because they got them on the top shelf, you know. And all I hear from the front is this little, no, 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 no. Now, I think maybe she's arguing with wife number 2. So I turn around and look, and she goes, here, come, come, come. Well, now they're keeping my cookies in the box behind the counter until all the crappy ones sell out. Meanwhile, I get the good ones. So I asked her, I said, do you know anything about the 2 bakeries? Well, then her husband comes in, the shorter one, the one that ordered the cookies. And I says to him, I says, how did you know which bakery? And he said, well, I didn't. He said, all I said was, I need cookies in shrink wrap. One bakery shrink wraps them. One bakery just tapes the edge of the box. They both bake under the same label, which is where the problem came in, because nobody knew there were 2 bakeries until I bitched about how crappy the cookies were. So then, you know, he goes to his supplier and he goes, how come all the cookies are bad? He said, what do you mean bad? He says, they're overbaked. The guy still didn't know because, you know, he's the intermediary. And then he said, when did they stop shrink wrapping? And then the supplier was like, oh, I know what you're talking about now. We have 2 bakeries. So as soon as they said shrink wrap, that's bakery number 1. Who knows how to bake the cookies? Bakery number 2, overbake them. They're hard, crunchy. It was so nice having my cookies back. Bite into them, you can actually taste the coconut because they don't overbake them and bake the flavor out of them. So I'm eating the cookies, watching TV, eating the cookies. Next thing I know, ain't no more cookies in here. So I had to go up and get more cookies. Oh, they are so good. Oh, my God, they are so good. I think since I was a little kid, I have had every type of coconut cookie ever made. Although, what are those Girl Scout cookies with the coconut? Those are, I'm trying to think what the hell the name of those was. Tangalos? I think Tangalos or something like that. When my former supervisor at the hospital, when her daughter was selling Girl Scout cookies, I just told her them, the ones with the coconut. I don't know if they were called Tangalos or that name sticks in my head for some reason. They weren't a coconut cookie per se. They had coconut on them. Although I'll tell you what, I don't think there is a Girl Scout cookie made that I don't like. And their shortbread, I have yet to find any cookie company that makes a shortbread cookie like the Girl Scout shortbread cookies. Of course, the mint cookies too are to die for. But there's no Girl Scouts around this neighborhood anymore. My boss's daughter don't sell the Girl Scout cookies no more. So my Girl Scout cookie days are gone. They used to allow them to set up a card table in the entranceway of Save-A-Lot. And last year, there was a bunch of shit over it. Because if I remember right, there was some African American church that wanted to sell something in the lobby. And the manager said, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, that's it. Oh, then the shit hit the fan. You're discriminating against us because we're a church. No. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We're supporting scouting. Of course, now I've heard it's no longer called Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. It's scouting, I think, just plain scout or American scouting. They're dropping the boy and the girl. What a crock of bullshit. For a godzillion years, it's been Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. This political correctness is ruining everything. It's gone too far. It's bad enough every goddamn sports team had to change their name. And you ought to see the goddamn looks I get when I call them Cleveland Indians. And they're like, whoa! Paleface don't make dirty comment. They're the Indians to me. Really? I didn't know that. So you mean certain areas get different cookies? God, you would think it would be universal across the United States. Wow. Oh, and besides that, to me, it's still Jacobs Field. Even though I insure with Progressive. The Jacobs brothers built that stadium. So it's the Indians playing at Jacobs Field. Or the Jake, as they used to call it. No, now it's the Guardians playing at Progressive Field. Next time I talk to Gina, I'm going to ask her if she knew all this. I wonder if they inform the troops. That would be kind of like, say, I had a niece in California that was a Girl Scout. They get different cookies out there than we get here. I'm sure everybody gets the Thin Mints. That was one of their big sellers. But all I know is their shortbread cookies are killer. I could eat a box at one sitting. Oh, the cookie board. Okay. I wasn't aware of that. You learn something every day. Going back to my Indians, every year, ticket prices are up and up and up and up and up. And then they need money to name the stadium. I don't know how much it is, but, everybody pays, we want our name on the stadium, so Progressive, they bid the most. The Jacob brothers built that stadium. It should be Jacobs Field for life. Not, who wants their name on the stadium? Like the Brown Stadium. I don't know what the hell that stadium is. And now they're talking about building another one because the Brown Stadium is out of date already. Well, the big thing is the dumb assholes, it was supposed to have a dome. And then at the last minute, they were like, no dome. Now they want a dome. Unfortunately, they can't come up with some idea to dome the Brown Stadium. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way of putting a top on the goddamn stadium without having to tear it down and build a new one. What a crock of shit. What are we going to build new stadium every 10 years or 20 years or what? When the hell was the Brown Stadium dedicated? 96, 98? God, I should remember. I was there. I was there for the dedication and the first game. sitting on the bench with the team. That's one I should remember what year that was. I'll have to look in my old limousine keepsakes. I still have everything, the parking pass and all the passes. Yeah, it was a trip that night. I parked the car and my clients are waiting for me. And I'm like, hey, I dropped them off at the VIP entrance. And I told them, I said, when the game's over, I'll have the car waiting for you right here. And they were like, no, go park the car and come back here. Okay. So I parked the car. And I come back and they're standing there waiting for me. And I'm like, guys, aren't you going to go, watch the game? We're waiting for you. I said, yeah, but I got to go down the sub-basement. Why are you going down the sub-basement? Because that's where the chauffeurs go. We have a chauffeur's lounge with big screen TVs. Don't you want to see the game? What? I'm gonna... Come with us. We don't do those things. Now, these guys are personal friends of the owner of the team. I'm like, come with us. Okay, I'm going to hear it. I'm going to get thrown out of here. So we go, I can't remember who the hell the owner of the team was back then. I don't know if he still owns it. Maybe. I don't follow the Browns anymore. So we get to his office and they're all shaking hands and he's like, who's that? I'm the elephant in the room, Well, that's our chauffeur. Oh, and your name? I'm thinking, do I really want to give my real name? So I give him my name. And he calls his secretary in. I said, I'm like, oh boy, I'm in trouble now. Next thing you know, she comes out. On-field pass. With my name. Oh. Yeah. Oh. And we walk down onto the field. And I says to him, where are we going to sit? And they said, right here. The team's sitting here. Well, yeah, we're going to sit here with the team. Really? You're not fucking with me. Me and Browns players. Uh-huh. Really? You're not screwing with me now. Uh-huh. Okay. I sit down. Next thing you know, the Browns players are talking to the team owner's buddies because they've met prior. And they're like, who's this? Well, that's our chauffeur. When they pat you on the shoulder, they pat you on the shoulder. I thought I was going to have x-rays because I could have swore my clavicles were broken. Welcome to the game, buddy. Then, the camera, several times during the game, pans the bench. All the other drivers from my company are watching TV in the sub-basement. Who do they see sitting on the bench? Me. Oh, they were pissed. Oh, when I got back to the depot to drop the car off, it was like a mafia hitman waiting for me. What were you doing out there? I had a guest pass. Well, how come we didn't? Well, you weren't driving the right people. I happen to have personal friends of the owner. Those were the good points of driving for the limousine service. Shit like that. Same thing like when Bob Costas invited me up to the announcer's booth at good old Jacobs Field. And the camera pans between, Bob Costas and Joe Morgan. And who's the idiot sitting in between Bob Costas and Joe Morgan? Grumpy. Who's down in the chauffeur's lounge watching the Indians game? All the drivers from my company. It was almost like a lynch mob that time. The Browns opening game, dedication of the new stadium, the Indians were vying for the World Series in '96, playing against New York. Of course, New York ended up winning, and they went to the World Series. And then my behind-the-scenes tour at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the behind-the-scenes tour at the Football Hall of Fame, because I drove one of the inductees. Oh, every time I would come back, like Football Hall of Fame down in Canton, How did you get back there? I was invited. How come we didn't get invited? Well, you weren't driving the right people. Those were the good points. Those were the wonderful memories. Matter of fact, I've got to find the list. I made a list over the 3 years that I worked for that limousine service of all the important people I drove. You know, movie stars, music stars, TV stars, important dignitaries. It was only, I mean, you know, like when I drove Pearl Jam to Blossom. You know, we had what was that? Was it 12, I think a 12 passenger van. They didn't want a limo, they wanted a van. And, you know, driving to Blossom and then leaving Blossom and going to, you know, Akron Canton Airport, they talked to me like I was part of the band. Just, and I tell, first of all, kids today don't know who the hell Pearl Jam is. But, you know, back in the day, I was like, yeah, I talked to all of the band members like, you know, like we were buddies. Amazing. I mean, the hours sucked. Oh. Not to mention the winter driving. I took a super stretch. Now, I'm sure you've seen a super stretch. And did 4 360s on the I-480 bridge in the winter and never scratched it. Gust of wind caught the ass end of that thing, and around and around and around and around we went. And the amazing thing was, coming out of the 4th circle, I was facing the right way in traffic. And believe me, traffic stopped while I was doing donuts in a super stretch. I got back to the office and I said, I never again am going to take a super stretch in the snow on the I-480 bridge. Ain't happening. I'm sure you know what bridge I'm talking about. You've probably been back and forth over that bridge many times. It was an odd gust of wind, and the longer the car, the bigger the chance of it going out from under you, and it did. And luckily, I didn't have any traffic around me, or I'd have demolished that thing. The wind caught the ass end, and we were just in it for the ride because there was no control in that thing. That bridge was like a sheet of glass. Needless to say, I had to change my underwear after that. And I think so did my passengers. I can't remember where we were going. They weren't important. I can't remember where. A guy taking his girl out for her birthday or some shit. And when the ass end went, I just said to him, hang on for the ride. I got no control of this car right now. And around and around and around and around it went. And when I finally hit a dry patch, the ass end caught, and I was facing the right direction. Because I'll tell you what, had I ended up facing the opposite way, I don't know how I'd have got it turned around. He took his girl to some fancy restaurant out that way. I can't remember the name of it. But on the way back, I took the side roads. I wasn't coming back across that bridge. Yeah, I know we needed a freeway. They had to run it over that span. I think it's like a 360-foot drop to the bottom. I know somebody went over it once. And I remember a tractor trailer ended up going up over the side and it was hanging, dangling. And that driver, matter of fact, when they brought the rescue bucket down, they couldn't get him to let go of the steering wheel. Hanging over that bridge, looking down. Whoa! There were accidents like daily on that bridge during the winter. You would think, I don't know how they could have routed it a different way instead of going over Valley View. But that was a treacherous bridge in the winter. I mean, every time you turn the news on, accident on the 480 bridge, accident on the 480 bridge, and the police would no sooner clean up one than there'd be another one, you know. Although people drive like assholes. Goddamn middle of winter, sheet of glass, the bridge is a sheet of glass, and they're doing 70 miles an hour. And then they wonder why they lose control of their car. It's because people are like, I have a four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive don't mean shit on ice. You could have a 12-wheel drive. If you hit a patch of ice, you're going. You know, my sister has owned nothing but four-wheel drives for years. And she has that invincibility attitude. And I told her, one day you're going to learn that on ice, it don't make a goddamn bit of difference how many wheels are driving. If you got a four-wheel drive, you got four wheels spinning. I'll tell you, when I was doing them 360s, I bet you I was about a foot from the sides of that, because I went both sides, spinning. I took up all 6 lanes, going in circles. I'd be looking, oh no, there's the side of the bridge. Oh, I missed it. Whoa, there's the other side of the bridge. And the girl in the back was screaming. I said, sweetheart, hang on for the ride, because I got no control over this car. Matter of fact, when we started to go sideways, her boyfriend thought I did it on purpose. You think I'm going to take a fucking super stretch and do that? But I'll tell you what, I could parallel park that son of a bitch like I was driving a Volkswagen. I had a guy make a customer make a bet with me once. I told him, I'm starting to line up, to pull up. I can't remember. I think we were by the Ritz-Carlton. And he goes, you ain't going to get this thing in here in one try. And I said, yes, I will. And he says, I got $100 bill here that says you won't. Okay. And as I opened the door, I said, I'll take that 100, please. He says, I've never seen anybody do that with a super stretch. But you know what's amazing? The longer the vehicle, the easier it is to park. I've proved it with regular limousines and medium stretch and super stretches. That's like my buddy's wife. She used to drive a school bus. And they had a minivan. She couldn't back that minivan for shit. She could back a school bus in a heartbeat. And he used to rib the shit out of him and say, you were all over the goddamn driveway backing out this morning. How the hell can you drive a school bus? The longer they are, the easier they are. Although I have always been, and to this day, I can parallel park with the best of them. I have a knack for parallel parking. And it's funny to watch people today, if they're trying to park, it's very easy. And I try to explain this. When you pull up, you stop with your rear wheel next to the rear wheel of the car that's parked. And you slowly angle in. Too many people, they cut it too hard. You just slowly angle and you watch in the mirror when you see your rear wheel about maybe 10 inches from the curb. Then you cut the wheels to swing the front end in. Everybody, right away, they go to back up, they cut it real quick. Parallel parking is easy. Everybody, they make such a chore out of it. You know, that's why they have mirrors on the right side of the car. So you can look down the right side of the car. And you just slowly angle in. And then when you see your back wheel 6-8 inches from the curb, then you swing the front end in. By then, you're in the spot. I don't even think they teach it anymore. I see them laying out these goddamn obstacle courses in parking lots. There was a guy the other day teaching his daughter, and up at the shopping plaza, they don't use the back lot anymore. And he had goddamn cones all over the place. Why teach that when you still have to parallel park sometimes? I don't think they teach it. And they're doing everybody a disservice. Because if you have to parallel park, you don't know how. And that means somebody else gets your parking space. I love the ones that try pulling in. Well, the ass end's way out over there. How are you going to get the ass end in against the curb if you pull in? Those are the ones I love to stand and watch. How are you going to get that car in there? And then they end up going around the block. I got 98 on my driving and 100% on my parking when I took the test. Because I still have my test papers from when I took my driver's test. I've kept them all these years. Because you used to have a paper license before these new ones came out. Because I took my driver's test, and the next week I did my chauffeur's test. At 16, I had a chauffeur's license. Let me see if it's in the drawer. I think I still have it on my hat. That's not it. It's on my hat. I could have swore I put it in this drawer. I don't think I took it off my hat. Let me go grab my hat. Oh. when you would get your chauffeur's license, you had the paper one, but the chauffeur's license had a section for a photo. They took your picture with a Polaroid. Then they trimmed it and glued it to your paper license. And then you were issued a badge. Ohio chauffeur. And you carried the badge with you. Because I was Ohio chauffeur 503913. That's my official chauffeur. At 16 years old, I was a chauffeur. And then when they come out with a new driver's license, they did away with it. You know, they don't have a chauffeur's license anymore. Chauffeurs drive on a regular driver's license. Unless the vehicle is over, I think, 16 passengers. Because some vans will carry 15 people. If like we had party buses. In order to drive the party bus, you had to have a CDL. Well, commercial driver's license start at like $150, $175. When it came time to renew my license, the girl said, well, do you want the... And here's where I was stupid. Although, I could have got grandfathered in and got a CDL. But every time I renew my license, it was going to cost I think it was $150. I'm not driving for no limousine service. I'm not driving truck. I said no. I think the state should have left the chauffeur's license because we had to take a test for it. It wasn't like they just handed this to you and went, here you go, you're a chauffeur. You like my hat? Did you catch where that hat's from? Oh. That was a gift. I can't wear it in Michigan. I'll get in trouble. I can wear it anywhere else. When the Michigan state trooper gave it to me, he said, don't get caught wearing this in Michigan, buddy. I was like, okay. I also have a Ohio State trooper's sombrero. My headset blinked out for a minute. My buddy's brother is a state trooper. And you know, when they give you a ticket, you sit in the front seat. They take you back to the cruiser, they put you in the front seat. That way they can show you your speed, you know. Well, he tells this woman to get in the front seat. He forgot his hat was on the seat. She wasn't paying attention, and she got in and sat on it. And those are straw. They're compressed straw. And she crushed it. So he gave it to me. Well, I took a steamer, like a steam iron, but it was a wand, and I steamed it, and I put it over the bottle. I cut a Clorox bottle in half, and I put the hat over the Clorox bottle, and slowly as I steamed it, I pushed it down, and I got it to straighten back out. And then I took super glue, and I glued it together where it was all broken. So I have a state trooper's hat from Ohio. I also have, which are now collector's items, 2 U.S. Customs hats. Now it's ice. How stupid. Ice. The Iceman cometh. You know, that's one thing I thought Goofball would change. Instead of ice, change it back to U.S. Customs. I'm an ice agent. Well, can I have a few bags of cubes, please? Ice. How stupid. Immigrations and customs, you know. What is it? Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. ICE. Talk about government waste. Had to change all the patches on the uniforms. Everything. Everybody had to be issued a new badge because you couldn't wear a customs agent badge. Now you're an ICE agent. There's our tax dollars. In the title of today's show, it says, Grumpy has a decision to make. Something I've been thinking about for a little while now. Do I continue 7 days a week? Or do I go to weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Because for the last week, it's basically been you and me. Not saying I don't enjoy it because we got kind of a bond between the bakery and the meat store. But you know, like, no, you know, I don't know when Nomad's coming back. No Wyatt. Jenny only pops in, you know, she pops in and pops out. Like last night, she popped out and never came back. And we haven't seen our Australian buddy in a week and a half. And if you look, the last couple of weeks, 5 views, 4 views, 3 views, 6 views. Not that I don't enjoy doing it, it's that the crowd ain't getting no bigger. I mean, it's not, you and I will have a bond forever because, like I say, you and I could have been standing in the bakery at the same time or the meat store at the same time. That still blows my mind. I'm like, all the millions of people in the world, I've got this little podunk little itty bitty channel. And you show up. Same meat store, same bakery, same funeral home. I was telling Marianne about that, and she was like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "At one time, we could have been standing side by side in the store." It just blows my mind. It just. What are the chances? And you popped in because of saying this. And had I not had that license plate, you might have never stopped to take a look. Seeing this background through the camera, I really like this one out of all of them. This one is cool. It looks so good on camera. And the waterfall's hitting me in the head. Let me move out of the way. There's the waterfall. And this background was, I checked today, $2.20. And it sold out. And I couldn't remember because, if you buy something on Temu, when you look at your orders, the picture's the size of a postage stamp. And I couldn't remember what this one looked like. As a matter of fact, I didn't know until I unfolded it this afternoon. And I was like, holy shit. It is cool. I have to figure a way of lighting it to really show it off. Because it's got flowers in it that are gorgeous. And the lighting really doesn't do this thing justice right now. I have to try to figure a way of lighting it and not blow it away, but somehow how to soft light it so I can bring out, like there's gorgeous flowers here. They're purple flowers here. And the ferns, and there's purple flowers all over. I mean, when I unfolded it, I was like, I paid $2.20 for this? Whoa. And I still don't know why I bought them. Because I wasn't planning on using them for backgrounds for here. I don't know what I was going to use them for. But actually, I know what I bought them for. A mural for my bedroom wall. And then when I opened them all up, I was like, oh, these are too nice to mount on the wall. Because you can with wheat paste, put wheat paste or wallpaper paste, and you can mount them to a wall. Probably be a bitch to get off, but I don't care. And I was going to put one on my bedroom, and I'm looking at them going, oh, they're too nice to ruin that way. Although, if I ever see another one of these, I'm going to grab it. But they're out of stock. That doesn't necessarily mean, they'll restock them, but it would look nice on a wall and then frame it. Because at the price of lumber, it would be too expensive to buy plywood or hardboard and mount it and frame it and hang it. But that was my original idea. I wasn't going to use them but man, this one is beautiful. I have to try to figure out how to light it and not blow it away. See, I kind of up in the corner have some soft light on it, but even the soft light is kind of blowing it away. I don't know. Maybe if I take the lights and aim them, I might try that. Take some lights up close to the ceiling and then aim them this direction and see. I'll have to fool with some lighting over the weekend. The weekend's over. During the week. I'm thinking it's Friday. I'd have woke up tomorrow going, it's Saturday. Although I do laundry on Sunday, and I did laundry today with my stupid ass machine. I finally heard the whole song that it plays when it's done. Talk about stupid. It goes for about 45 seconds. It's kind of a cross between I'm trying to think. Kind of a cross between Westminster chime and between a Westminster chime and Haba Nagila. And I can't hear it upstairs. Now, mind you, the washer and dryer are right underneath me in the basement. I can't hear that. Now, when my other washer was done, you'd hear, ah. You'd hear it. Most irritating butter, but you'd hear it. This one, like today, I forgot to look at the time because it takes 53 minutes. And when I thought it was done, it was just starting the spin cycle. So I stood there, waited. And it takes forever to drain. And then it'll make like 10 revolutions, real slow, and stop. For like 3 minutes. And then and stop. And then the third time it starts, it goes a little bit faster. And stop. I'm like, are you ever going to go through the full spin? Although, when it goes full spin, holy shit, I was waiting for the machine to lift off the floor. God damn. No. I add the detergent, and I add the fabric softener, and I fill it to the maximum mark, Suavitel. I still have to use fabric softener sheets in the dryer because they come out all clingy with static electricity. I thought that was the object of fabric softener. Today I'm taking the stuff. Socks are sticking to the shirts. I was like, isn't that why you put fabric softener in? So you don't have to use softener sheets? No. Although I think a lot has to do with an electric dryer. Because when I had my gas dryer, I never had static. So I don't know what the difference is, but I wish I had my gas dryer. But there's no gas line over on that side of the basement. So I have to, use an electric. But I still have to go buy dryer sheets now. Although I thought good old Suavitel was a decent, maybe I gotta buy Oh, I'm not buying no expensive Gain or Downy. God, have you seen the price of fabric softener and detergent? Yesterday when I was at Mark's, with a 16-ounce bottle of Gain, like $8. I was like, what? I'll go to Dollar Tree for $1.25 and buy my fabric softener and my detergent. They had Awesome. Talk about a generic brand. Awesome. Awesome Oxy. That's what I use. Awesome Oxy with OxyClean. $1.25 works for me. And then the Suavitel fabric softener works for me. All right, it's not a 16-ounce bottle, but God, for what I would pay at the grocery store, I could buy 4 bottles of Suavitel and 4 bottles of Awesome Oxy. And same thing with bleach. Goddamn Clorox bleach at Mark's, $6. All right. It's a gallon. I'll buy my quart for $1.25. I don't use that much bleach anyway. I haven't used any yet. I haven't tried my bleach dispenser because I've got one. I like that pull-out drawer. Pull the drawer out, pour the detergent in, pour the fabric softener on the other side, and close the drawer. That's neat. I like that. Any cleaning product is outrageous. That's why I buy all my stuff at Dollar Tree. $1.25. Hey, that bottle lasts me a long time because I only do 1 load a week. Now, this week it'll be 2 because I'm doing sheets and pillowcases. But even so, I refuse to buy a name brand at a grocery store. Although I wasn't aware that the government pulled Fabuloso cleaner off the market. I wonder why I couldn't find it. Because I used to buy that at Dollar Tree. I thought it was great for floors. Fabuloso. The government won't let them import that shit. Chinese must have been putting some nasty chemical in it. Because I asked the girl at Dollar Tree, I go, aren't you going to get Fabuloso anymore? She went, no. We had to send it all back. I was using that stuff like crazy. Although they carry, besides the laundry detergent, they've got the spray bottles of awesome, clean your counter and your stove, awesome bathroom cleaner. That stuff works pretty decent. I like it. Yeah, Fabuloso got banned. I don't know what it was. I'm going to have to gargle it to see why it got banned. But the girl said at Dollar Tree they had to ship it all back. Had I known that, I'd have bought fucking cases of it. I like that stuff. She goes, I think it caused cancer. I said, been that route already 3 times. And soon I will have the shirt to prove it. I can't wait for that one to get here. I'm going to wear that one to my doctor's office. What did I pay for that? Like $560 or $570. None out of all the shirts. Matter of fact, I ordered 2 more. I think I got like 9 shirts coming now. I haven't paid over $5 for a t-shirt. I refuse to go in the Bullseye store and pay $12 or $15 for a goddamn t-shirt. But long sleeve t-shirts are hard to find. Not to mention with a pocket. Now, these don't have pockets. See, I'm cold all the time, so I wear a long sleeve t-shirt under my shirt. And my uniform store hasn't been able to get long sleeve. I don't know why. Yeah, I went into the Bullseye store and I looked and went, $15 for one shirt? Holy shit. I put that back on the rack carefully. Because they had a pocket. And I'll tell you what, it's getting harder and harder and harder to find shirts with pockets. Don't people use pockets anymore? If I put my cigarettes in my pants pocket, I crush them. That's why I gotta buy uniform shirts. These uniform shirts have pockets. Red cap. That's why I buy all my shirts at the Work Smart uniform store. We're coming up soon on the 50th anniversary. Too bad poor Nick isn't still around to celebrate it. God, I miss him. Although I know his staff don't. Every time I walk in the store. Did you know he was my first ever customer? And all the girls are like, oh, God, again. Every time I would walk in there, they'd roll their eyes. They'd be like, oh, God, it's coming. And then he'd see me. Girls, did you know he was my first customer? They're like, we've only heard this, Nick, 300 times now. Every time I'd walk in, it was hilarious. Matter of fact, I'd walk in and the girls would go in the back. They'd slowly, and he'd call them out. Hey, girls, come here. And they'd be like, oh, no. Matter of fact, the one said to me, can you stop coming in? I was like, no. I come here for the bargains. You know, you go to the Bullseye store and blue jeans are like $70 a pair for Wranglers. I buy Wranglers from Nick, $13.95. Because the stitching's a little crooked somewhere. Like these. Three-quarters of the way down the zipper on, that flap, it's double stitched. The machine made a boo-boo. Well, they can't sell them as first line Wranglers. So they get pitched aside as seconds. I could give a damn. Nobody knows. I wear them all the time. I've yet to have somebody go, oh, it's double stitched on your zipper there. Really? That's the only, and it's like 3/4 of an inch. Just, there's one line, and then for some reason, 3/4 of an inch, it double stitched. I could give a shit. They're blue jeans. They're not tuxedo pants. I paid $13.95. I bought 2 pairs for less than 1. Yeah, Bullseye. It was like $68.95 for the same Wranglers I'm wearing. I was like, how can people afford to buy clothing? I'm amazed. It scares me to look at prices in clothing stores when I can go down to Work Smart. I have never paid more than, I think there was one pair of cargo pants. I paid like $15.95. That's the most I have ever paid for a pair of pants. And then I get, and Nick apologized. Oh, I'm sorry, these are, I couldn't get a deal at the factory. I said, Nick, you know what these are selling for at the Bullseye place? He goes, yeah, I know. I could care less that the stitching is a little crooked. They're jeans. I live in them. I have I got to get some more. I got 5 pair of jeans and 2 pair of cargo pants. I got to go get some more jeans because I tore the pocket on my one. I forgot I had a screwdriver in my pocket. Got in the truck. I'm like, how come I can't frickin' straighten up in the seat? And then I get out of the truck and the screwdriver tore a frickin'. And you can't find iron-on patches anymore. Remember back in the day, the iron-on patches? I think every mother had them. Can't find iron-on patches. I could fix the pocket if I could find an iron-on patch. Nope. Can't find them no more. And you know what's also getting hard to find? Remember RIT? Clothing dye? Can't find that anymore either. I guess people don't dye clothes anymore. They just throw them away. God, I remember when tie-dye shit was the rave? I had friends, they'd have 3 or 4 big goddamn galvanized buckets. Tie a shirt one way, dip it in, untie it, tie it again, dip it in a different color. Wait till it dries. Tie it a different way. Dip it in. Make your own tie-dye clothes. Of course, although tie-dye's making a comeback, I read it somewhere. Tie-dye is slowly making a comeback. God, if I could find some of my old tie-dye shit, I'd be in style again. I would say the last time I saw RIT had to be maybe like 5 years ago. I haven't seen it anywhere since. Of course, the tree huggers, oh, there's some nasty chemical in here. I remember my mother probably had every color in the rainbow of that shit. My father would repaint the living room. She'd take down the drapes and put them in the old RIT. There. Now I got drapes to match the paint. if you go in the shirt section on Temu, they've got some tie-dye shirts. But I was looking for specific shirts. But I saw them. I can't remember what category they were under. But they said they're making a comeback again. And you know what else is making a comeback? Hawaiian shirts. Temu's got a hell of a section of Hawaiian shirts. I'm thinking of ordering a couple. Well, maybe one. They're like $12. I can remember when I was growing up, my uncle, he was in the Navy. And if they would stop in Hawaii, he would buy the family fucking Hawaiian shirts and send them back. I miss those days. Yeah. I'll never forget when they had a layover in Japan, and he sent all kinds of stuff, but I remember he sent my sister porcelain dolls that were like geishas. I wonder if she still got them. I know she never took them out of the box. I think he sent her 3. Each one has a different geisha outfit on it. And they're about maybe 18 inches high. He used to send some neat shit. Yeah, they thought that was something new, huh? Wow, look at these. Yeah, the third time we're wearing them now. They've been put away for 10 years. Bring them out again. They probably like, these are that old? Oh, come on, Mom. I ain't wearing these. Oh, yes, I am. They're cool. That was the nice thing about having girls. You wear them, you put them away, and they wear them. And they think they're right in fashion. And then they say, well, I wore them when I was your age. Really? Okay, I'll wear them. Are you still waiting for one of them to use your wedding dress? Still in cold storage somewhere? Neither one, huh? And that was like, my mother saved hers. And when my middle sister got married, she looked at that dress and went, "Oh, I ain't wearing that. No, So my mother put it away again. And then when my little sister got married, my mother brought it out and she was like, "Oh, no, I ain't wearing that. Nope. I think she ended up giving it to Goodwill. Because neither of my sisters. They were like, "I don't know why you saved that, but we ain't wearing it." My little sister, when she got married, she rented her wedding dress. Because wedding dresses were outrageous in price. And she found some place that rented wedding gowns, and she rented her dress. And then the reception was at the VFW. My father was a member, so they got the hall for free. And then one of the guys from the VFW owned a catering service, so my father got a deal on that. And then one of the guys had a band, and he got a deal on that. My sister was like, "Oh, come on, VFW." My father said, "If I'm paying for it, that's where everything's at." So her wedding wasn't that expensive. Because I think he was still paying for my middle sister's wedding because she had to go. She had like 8 bridesmaids, Of course, see, she was the first girl. So she got what she wanted her way. Then when my little sister got married, it was like, "You're doing it my way, VFW." It's a big waste of money. It really is. Because the bride and groom never get back in gifts what it costs to put that fiasco on. And nowadays, I would hate to think what a goddamn wedding would cost. Although we've got a wedding hall not that far away. I'm going to have to cruise by there on the Saturdays and see if they're doing any business this year. Goddamn wedding got to set somebody back 50 grand easy just for a small gathering at the prices. I wouldn't. If I had a daughter, I'd buy her boyfriend a ladder. And tell him elope. There would be no way, no way, no way. Mm-mm. Or do it where each side invite like maybe 20 people and have a little small gathering somewhere. But some of these where, they invite 200-300 guests. That thought scares me. Yeah. I can almost imagine the cost of engagement rings today. Yay. Because every girl's got to have, the Rock of Gibraltar in her hand. Ugh. That's a topic that just. I didn't even want to go there anymore. And I was dumb enough to do it 4 times. Yeah. 350 people? Holy yutchafuk. That's a scary thought right there. With the cake the size of a semi? God damn. Jeez. I'll stick with my meatloaf wedding cake. I gotta try to find the goddamn pictures of her and I cutting the meatloaf wedding cake. It looked like a real wedding cake. He did a hell of a job with the goddamn mashed potato frosting. It looked impressive. I'll never forget. Would you like a piece of wedding cake? People were like, yeah. And then you'd have to tell them it's meatloaf. What? No way. Yeah, he layered it. Oh, he did a beautiful job. The manager of the store made it. Matter of fact, I to this day, I don't know how he came up with the idea. Well, I liked Boston Market meatloaf. But how he come up with the idea of making a wedding cake out of meatloaf. But he did a beautiful job. Because when they rolled that cake out, it looked like a cake. And then just before we sliced it, he said, that's meatloaf and mashed potatoes. This cake is meatloaf and mashed potatoes. Yep. Meatloaf and mashed potatoes. And like I say, when he piped the frosting, it was gorgeous. I gotta see if I still have a picture. Some of that shit got lost because I've moved so many times. But wheel that cake out, had the little grinding broom on the top. And just before we went to slice it, he goes, "You're really going to have to cut into that." I said, "Why?" "It's meatloaf." I thought he was fucking with me. I said, "Oh, yeah, right." He says, "You're going to have to put some pressure on the knife." It is meatloaf. We took a lot home because nobody wanted any. I ate meatloaf forever. It's a good thing that Boston Market had tasty meatloaf. Nobody else would touch it. The kids were, after like the second serving, they were like, no more, no. I have the memories of getting married in the dining room of Boston Market in Rocky River with a judge from Rocky River court system and a meatloaf wedding cake. A wedding to remember. Just that part. The bride, we don't want to remember that. The cake, yes. The bride, a flaming redhead with a temper to match the hair and a bit psychotic. Although we slept with dueling pew-pews under our pillows. I always wonder what she did for a living after Boston Market closed. Because she worked at Boston Market like forever. Oh. Did you ever hear of Dave's Chicken? We have a Dave's Chicken here now. I don't know where they're out of. But they make, like flaming hot chicken. I've seen the commercials for Dave's Chicken. And then I found out we've got one in Lakewood. So I got to find out where they're out of. And then I read yesterday that a lot of the Popeyes chicken places are closing because they're on the verge of going bankrupt. I've never had Popeyes chicken. We used to have all kinds of chicken places. We had Popeyes and Churches, and we have one good old KFC on 117th still hanging in there. But we used to have KFCs everywhere. Now we only have one. Gotta remember, we probably had a dozen KFCs around here. Now the only one left is over on 117th. And I haven't had KFC in ages. I love their chicken. I'm not a big chicken person, but KFC, I've always liked theirs. 17 herbs and spices. Yeah, I read it. Was either yesterday or Friday that they're slowly starting to close stores. Mainly right now, the underperforming places. Never had Popeyes. You know, if I get a taste for chicken, as much as I hate Gigantic Eaglet, they make a pretty good chicken. Because the one on 117th, they've got a cafe and they got a bakery, and all day long they're doing chicken. And you can get a whole chicken fairly reasonable. Well, the last time I bought one, and it was pretty tasty. Now and then I'll, buzz up there, get a whole chicken, eat my fill, then make chicken salad. Haven't had that in ages. I take the chicken, a cold chicken, put it in the food processor. And add all kinds of goodies. Matter of fact, my neighbor thinks I'm crazy. I'll take a stick of celery. I like a little celery in my chicken salad. I haven't made that in a long time. I haven't made a lot of stuff. I get lazy. I haven't made tuna salad in ages either. Although, see, I don't like tuna salad sandwich. I like to eat mine on crackers. I can make a meal, get some club crackers, tuna salad. I tell my friends that. I like mine on crackers. That's not how you eat tuna salad. I can eat it any way I want. I like mine on crackers. If I really get crazy, I'll take the club cracker and some American cheese and then the tuna salad and eat it that way. But well, see, I only get the white albacore tuna in water. And bumblebee. No generic tuna. So I get the bumblebee, albacore, and then I make my tuna salad. If I'm gonna have tuna salad, I want good tuna salad. Or ham salad. Ugh. I haven't had that in ages either. Trying to think, what was that ham place? Spiral Sliced. What the hell was the name of that ham store? Their big gimmick was the Spiral Sliced. And that's all they sold was hams. It was a franchise. What the hell was the name of that place? I can't remember. I'm gonna kill him. He knows when the... Easy. Oh man, I'm gonna destroy the joint. You gotta have some goddamn stupid question. I swear the older they get, the dumber they get. 40 years old going on 4. That's scary. 40 years old, no employment, no car. And he can't drive either one of mine because they're manual transmissions. And he didn't have educated feet. He almost burned the clutch out in my Ford Ranger when I tried to teach him how to drive stick. And then I ended up burning the clutch out. I miss that truck. I loved Ford. I had 2 of them. I had 2 Ford Rangers. Both of them manuals. The clutch went in one and the goddamn timing belt went in the other one. I miss them. I could repair them things with my eyes closed. But I could never find another decent manual. There were a bunch of them when I was looking for them. There were a bunch of them on Faceplant Market Space. You'd read along. Needs clutch, needs clutch, needs clutch, needs clutch. Although I ended up with the shitbox. I don't like that piece of junk. I get more looks. Especially when people look at the back end and there's a big ratchet strap holding the fenders on the bed so the tailgate stays in. I think I'm going to have to break down this summer, cut that old rotten bed off that thing and make a flatbed out of it. I won't get rid of it. Oh no, it runs too well. God, you can't. I started. You can't hear it idle. But every time I slam a door, it leaves pieces of its. It marks its territory. Speaking of marking territory, I think it's time to mark our nightly territory. Uh-oh. Where's my stylus? I keep losing the damn thing. There it is. Okay, I found it. Wow, it went right to the alphabetical. Unbelievable. Right there. 7 p.m. And with that, enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. And until I make a decision, we'll be back tomorrow. And with that, have a good evening.